Okay, today, Labor Day long weekend in Canada, Ottawa. I'm going to winterize my pool. The leaves are starting to fall. The trees are starting to brown a little bit, and that's our first sign that fall is coming and that the pool is going to need to be winterized. I like to do it before all the leaves fall because it'll save you a step of cleaning in the process. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that our pool chemicals are balanced and that the pool is clean. So to winterize your pool, you're going to need a few items. First, you're going to get some universal antifreeze. Don't get the pool antifreeze because it's more expensive. Just get an RV or camper van antifreeze. It's the exact same thing. It's food safe. I get a skimmer cover. If you don't have a skimmer saver like this that pops into the side of your skimmer, you're going to want to fill it with pop bottles and things like that that are going to stop any water that could potentially flow in from crushing your skimmer, which would be very expensive to replace. Next, we've got this multi-tool here, which is you're going to definitely need that to open up your eyelets in your pool where your two pool jets are located. And then these are the screw-in plugs for those pool jets. And then we've got the two plugs for our skimmer jets as well. And as you can see here, they're always coated with Teflon tape. I usually try to do a fresh coat of Teflon tape every time you use them every year, and a wrench to tighten the jet plugs. Then you're going to need some O-ring lube to lubricate any gaskets in your pool pump, anything rubber that's normally wet, otherwise it'll crack over the winter, and you'll have to replace your rings every time. Not expensive, but a hassle nonetheless. You're going to want your pool stability kit. I use AquaCheck. There's a bunch of other different types that you can use. A chemical kit like this, you have your algicide, stop algae from growing over the winter and ruining your pool liner. This also saves your pool liner, stain and scale. It stops your pool liner from staining and heavy metals from damaging your liner. And then you've got an oxidizer, which is like a shock treatment to stop things from growing in your pool, but it's actually non-chlorinated, so it works from a different system, so it's not harsh on your liner with sitting water. Then we've got a drill. You can use a hand screwdriver as well. I've got a common screwdriver. That's to take out the lines that are connected to our pool pump. And we've got an air compressor here. It's a 6-gallon air compressor. We're not going to go over 60 psi. What you need is just something low psi so you don't blow out your lines, but we're going to flush out the water in our lines, and some sort of attachment. Now I've got a handy gun attachment to it, but actually what you need, if you unscrew the gun attachment, is the threaded attachment, and that's what we're going to thread into our pool pump drainage valves, and we're going to pump right from there without taking out the lines. Save you some time. And last in the background here, we've got the shop vac, which we're going to use to suck out water from our skimmer, any residual water that we might have. And just to note, if you're using a shop vac or any kind of vacuum, take off the filter head when you're flushing with water. It'll ruin your filter otherwise. And then you've got an extension cord over there if you need it to reach. The other thing that you're going to need is a pool cover, so either a safety cover or a tarp cover to cover your pool over the winter to stop leaves and debris from going in. AquaCheck test strips. Well, what you do is you just put it in the deep end, and basically what you do is you line them up with the color so it tests pH, which is good. It's in the OK range of 7.2, maybe a little bit low. Our chlorine is right on the OK mark there. Our alkalinity is okay, and our stability is a little bit on the low side, a little bit in the OK. Before cleaning the pool, if you have a solar cover, it's a good idea to unroll it from the reel and let it dry out like this. This will save you a step in the springtime when you're opening your pool by not having to clean it. So basically, I rinse it with some fresh water and then lay it out to dry for a good few hours in the sunlight. And then you can roll it back up on the roll and store it indoors. Next thing I'm going to do to winterize the pool is I'm going to go around and clean up any floating leaf debris like this. Do is submerge your hose and fill up a little bit of water into it, and then you're going to attach that to the top of the vacuum head like that. Make sure that's nice and snug. Then we're going to take this adapter, we're going to attach it to the other end into this skimmer cover. Basically what that's going to do is it's going to help regulate the pressure of the hose so that you're getting enough pressure, enough suction And I'm going to submerge the vacuum head. We've got the hose primed with a little bit of water, but we submerged it, got the vacuum head in, and we've got to attach the skimmer. Next, we're going to turn on the pump filter. The house here to clean, we're going to make sure that the filter setting is on filter, which it indicates here. You can change the setting by lifting it like this. We're going to go over to our pump and we're going to turn it on. What's going to happen is your pump should be pumping water through. It's going to drain out like that because your hose is empty, but it's going to start pumping water back in. You don't want to start cleaning with your vacuum head until your pressure has returned to about 15 to 20 psi. Our pump has now reached about 15 psi, 17 psi, and we can see that it is cleared from water. So we are good to go with the vacuum and start pumping. And what I do is I just drag it easily along the bottoms, make sure all the debris that's currently sitting in the pool is clean before we winterize it. You have all your equipment ready to store because you're going to want to let it sit outside in the sun, dry out completely, so you don't have mold and other undesirables on your equipment in the new year when you're trying to get at it. Clean pool now, and it's balanced. We've checked it with the aqua check. So next thing we're going to do is empty our pool, our water levels below the jets. First, we're going to empty our skimmer, and I'll show you how to do that in the pool house right now. So we're in the pool house. We're going to lower our water level from our skimmer first to as far down as the skimmer and empty as much water out of the skimmer as possible. We're going to turn our valve from filter down to the bottom to backwash. We're going to run that for about a minute. Then we're going to turn it to rinse for about 30 seconds to clear out the head, clear out our sand, and then we're going to go right to drain. All right, so what we have here is a skimmer system with a main drain that feeds back into the skimmer. So the main drain here has a pipe that leads underneath the pool directly into the second hole of the skimmer here. So what you need to do is you have a little cap that swivels. You need to open up the main drain hole so that it fills up the skimmer so the skimmer can suck from the pump and out onto out of the pool. What we've done is we've connected a hose directly into the pool so that it feeds and feeds the water into the skimmer. So while we're emptying the pool, even below the skimmer, what we're going to do is we're going to put some Teflon tape onto our jet pump, and then we're going to install our jet pumps after we flush them out. Something to note when you're putting Teflon tape on, righty-tighty. So this is turning forwards towards you when we tighten. You always want to put the Teflon tape against, going with the tighten, not against the tight, because if you put it with the tightening, it'll have a tendency to push and resist the Teflon tape, versus if you put it with the tightening, it'll roll in and become much more secure. What we need to do is make sure that these are going to be watertight. And you're going to want to do at least 3 rolls around it. We put the skimmer saver in the side. We've still got some water, residual water sitting here. So we're going to suck it out with the shop vac. So we actually don't need the pool pump anymore. So I'm going to take this off, which is the line from my filter to my chlorinator to my pool again. And we'll get that stuff out of the way, and then we're going to start flushing out our lines. On your pool pump, likely on the left-hand side, you're going to have 1 or 2 drainage lines. Mine is located on the left side right here. And you can use some vice grips or a screwdriver and gently work that off. There we go. We're going to take an attachment, a threaded attachment for your air compressor, and thread that right perfectly into your pool pump. Next, we're going to take your air compressor, we're going to turn it on, and we're going to attach it into that and blow out our lines. Now that our skimmer is cleared of water, we're going to take this RV antifreeze and we're going to pour it in the line just to be safe in case there's any water remaining. It's not going to freeze and break our lines over the winter time. Then we're going to plug it, and then we're going to fill it a little bit more with antifreeze for the rainfall water that's going to inevitably seep into here and freeze over the winter time as well. Another thing that I like to do that I'll do later is I'm going to take some duct tape and just cover up this hole for the winter time. That'll stop a little bit of the rainfall, a little bit of that melting snow. So what we have here is we've just filled up our skimmer with antifreeze. We've blown out the lines of the skimmer, and we've plugged the skimmer, so the skimmer is taken care of. And this is the line from the skimmer to the pool pump. We've just detached it from the pool pump, and we're going to winterize the pool pump. But on the outlet lines, we haven't had, there could potentially be some water in there after we flush it from the air compressor. So after we flushed it, we're going to take this antifreeze with a filter, and we're going to pour the rest of our antifreeze in this line, because this line leads to both of our two jets, our shallow end jets and our deep end jets. These are both probably within your frost line, so they probably will succumb to freezing temperatures. Okay, so after we've pushed the water out of all of our lines, we're going to start detaching some of the lines. One of the things you also want to do, you do not want to forget, is on the bottom here of the filter, you're going to want to drain your filter from water, because we have a sand filter, any filter actually. If water freezes in here, it could crack your filter, and that would be bad because you'd have to replace it. So I'm going to start with pouring the oxidizer chemical into the pool now that the water is reduced. And then when we fill it up again, the water levels, this will mix a little bit better. But for starters, we're just going to try to spread this as evenly as possible. So this is it right here. It's not a lot, but it does the trick for about 6 months of winterization. We're going to wait about 10 or 15 minutes in between each chemical that we add to the pool. In the meantime, I'm going to go downstairs, I'm going to flip the circuit and turn off the electricity to the pool. After about 10 minutes of allowing the oxidizer to really sink into the pool and into the water and off the surface, we're going to put the stain and scale in, and there's no right or wrong way to put it in. The final step in winterizing your pool is to ensure that all of your lines are disconnected and cleared of water, stored safely indoors. And I also like to add covers to all of my pump and filter openings, just to ensure that no vermin or critters get into it over the wintertime. Another thing is I've drained my pool pump completely. I've disconnected it from the actual timer, and it's been lubricated with O-ring lube to ensure that the O-ring in the filter cap right here is nice and lubricated and not cracking. The next thing I'm going to do after winterizing all of the equipment in my pool house is fill up my pool to a few inches below the skimmer, and then put my safety cover on. Your pool now has the safety cover, the water levels are back up, and it is fully ready for winter. The elements including rain, snow, and organic matter that might fall over the pool. See you in 6 months.